completed. We went there, we spoke to the residents. We had heard stories of how people's brothers, their girlfriends, people that they loved had lost their lives, trying to cross that stretch of road. I remember that there was one time that we went there and we tried to cross that stretch of road. You went ahead of me, and then it took me forever to be able because I was really scared. The cars were coming and it was just a really scary situation. I mean, fast forward, the footbridge has been built. It's a long footbridge, yes. It took me about 4 minutes and 17 seconds to go the full length of the footbridge from one side to another. And when I asked the students, they did say that, initially when they started to use the footbridge, they were scared. Because to be honest, when you're standing in the middle of the road, there's a feeling of nothingness, as it is with some of these structures. But the most important thing, though, is that they have been taught and they've been made to understand the value of a life, that being uncomfortable is not enough to then do the things that put you in a situation where you could lose your life. And at that particular spot, we've had people die. So we know that it is real. So just watching all of that, there's so many different emotions. But the thing that was really nice to see, Daniel, was that for every school child, there was no hesitation. There was no deliberation about should I cross the road or should I use the footbridge. You would see them, walking from the community together, just going onto the footbridge straight away. So that was awesome to see as well.
Okay, let's hear from some of these children.
I feel very sad because they think that because crossing the bridge is time consuming, it would be better to cross the road, but it's better to be safe than sorry. So I'd rather advise them to use the bridge. And that's advice from a child, Daniel. It's better to be safe than sorry. Sapoma, you use the footbridge as well when you're coming to school every day. When you compare the fact, and I'm sure you've heard people say that it's quite a distance, when you compare that to what you have seen, people dying on this road, how does that make you feel?
It's a pity. Yes. I feel that crossing the footbridge is much more safer than crossing the road because I feel that my safety is more guaranteed on the footbridge than when I'm crossing the road.
So what kind of education was given to you about using the footbridge?
Oh, the fact that crossing the footbridge is much better than crossing the road because people's lives are at risk most of the time when they cross the road.
Are you guys a little bit scared when you're crossing?
Yes.
Okay, so you heard them, Daniel. They're a little bit scared when they're crossing, as was I, to be honest. But the lesson still resounds: it's better to be safe than sorry. I have Hackman as well. Hackman, how do you feel about the adults who are using the road? Even as we stand here, we can see some of them trying to cross. How does that make you feel?
It's very bad because it can easily make them lose their lives. All the cars passing, even with the presence of the traffic lights, there are accidents that occur. So I will urge them to stop doing that.
So those are the children of the Talk to Teen school that Enimwa spoke to. Now, they are very comfortable with using the footbridge, but Kofi here did not use the footbridge.
Two pavements were inside. No, now me master let mommy tell me better baby. I didn't know. I'm a chock no.
Into one master small say Kofa baby across the street. I don't know when you use the footbridge no.
Oh, say, now, even Mujina or Chemi was seeming fire at the mom. There's some Ambefa bridge in the top Samba Baba to not have to Ajanana. Make up when it's time at the mom.
Okay, Kofi.
Master.
Ain't time maybe didn't know when you use the footbridge no. Sebio, Kofi Fachemio. It is a car boa. If a car had hit you. Sanke Adena would come on won't me in farm mom. Granke Jumani say me boy. It is extra 5 minutes now. Would it be far footbridge no? Then a be Jeffy.
Oh, she and Jim Premier.
What's it?
They say she and Jim Premier.
And Jeffy and Few. Okay. Inside and when you use the footbridge no?
Whether my mistake at Ramasa Pacho,
So Kofi is a construction worker on the road who was telling us that he had to pick something from across the street quickly and there were people waiting for him. That's why he did not use the footbridge. He was using the road instead because he was in a hurry. But after that conversation, he realized the error in his ways and he apologized. I'm still a bit befuddled that he chose to apologize because in the end, he did not wrong me. He puts he apologized to me and he did not wrong me. He put his own life at risk and he put the lives of other motorists and pedestrians at risk. However, we still spoke to a parent here who is glad that some of the footbridges have been completed.
No, I do not think so. Even if it is too long, it is safer to use the longer route than to go the shortcut. You know, in our local language, if you think it is longer to use the footbridge, try crossing the shorter way, and you might lose your life. Now, let me tell you one excitement that the footbridge has brought to us as parents. You know, before, we have to go do the U-turn at Race Junction before I come and drop my kids here. Now, and good for us too, the ADMA has redesigned the bus stop over there. So you can safely park there, let our children cross the footbridge.
Yes, so that's a very excited parent speaking there, talking about how he does not think the footbridges are too long. It's 13 minutes till we hit the top of the hour. There's a picture here we're going to put on social media very shortly of a pedestrian who was crossing the street, and this is someone in Imo who is looking so respectable, if I can use that expression.
I mean, yeah, he was, but I mean, even this guy. So this guy's wearing an African print shirt and a pair of trousers, and he was crossing the road, and he saw me hold my camera up, and he kind of started to smile because it was so evident that what he was doing was wrong. There was another gentleman who was actually wearing a suit. He was fully suited, crossing the road and jumping, and you kind of have to jump over. I'm not sure what those things are called. The silver, the railings.
The barricade.
Yeah, the barricade. You had to jump over that. Even worse, though, there was a young lady, maybe she's about 26, 27, taking a child to school, and she was trying to cross the road with the child. And so she did half of the road, and then the policeman sent her back to go and use the footbridge. So it's not even just when the adults are doing it, but then there are actually some adults who are pulling children along to cross the road. And it was more because she didn't want to use the footbridge as opposed to the child not wanting to use the footbridge.
Well, so this is a parent putting the life of the child in danger. But I think that the story is changing a bit this morning. I've received a very encouraging message from Nana Maina Denta. She says, Daniel, this morning, almost all the pedestrians are using the footbridge. Of course, this is after the police has decided to step up action there. And it comes down to, I know that a lot of time we try and encourage citizens to also act and do the right things, but the actions of leadership in enforcing the law also does a lot in encouraging us to do the right thing, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm just right now showing you the video of the lady who was trying to cross the road with the child.
This definitely needs to go on social media.
Yeah, so that's what she's doing. But the policeman sent her back, and then they went to use the footbridge. But I mean, it doesn't even make sense to me, because the thing is, a child could actually cross the road by themselves. They could cross the road using the footbridge, which is what a lot of parents are doing, because they don't have to go forward to the Rich Junction and do a U-turn. So a bus stop has been created so that parents can drop off their children at that point, and then you go straight onto the footbridge, cross the road, and you're good to go. So there was no reason why this should happen, really, Daniel.
She's not justified in any way. People is putting all of us at risk. Maybe you can also share that experience with us. But I want to read this message very, very quickly Good morning, Ghana Water Company Limited. There's a burst pipe at my backyard and water is being wasted for the past 3 days. Because of the pressure, plumbers are struggling to fix the pipe. Please come to our aid. We would appreciate it if the said line is closed to enable fixing. However, this is not the first time this pipe has been ruptured, and attempts to permanently solve the breakage has proved futile because it keeps occurring. Please come to our aid. We are located at Parco Estates around the Kisseman side of the gate. The security at the entrance gate know the particular house the water is coming from. So this is just something that we want to put out for the Ghana Water Company Limited to deal with very quickly. Now from Achimota has a message. Please, I want you to come to the Accra Kumasi Road, the Nsawam to Mile 7 stretch specifically. That place is a highway, yet you see trotros parked to drop off passengers. And instead of pedestrians to use the footbridge at Achimota Mall, they would rather cross the highway right in front of the bridge. I want you to bring this to the attention of the MTTD. Here on the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. We'll soon be going to the Medina Denta footbridges now to speak with Roland Walker, because the police has stepped up efforts there, and we are going to be following up on the efforts that the police are making to ensure that citizens use the footbridges like Nanama is talking about. So we'll also spend a bit of time on this Achimota issue. But look, at the bottom line of the conversation we want to have this morning is that we can all encourage ourselves to do the right thing. Doing the right thing is great, but there has to be some deliberate efforts to encourage the citizenry to do the right thing, like the police is doing this morning at Medina Denta. In short, good citizens are not born, good citizens are made. And this is a thrust of Nana Sakwau's submission on That's My Opinion on Monday. Take a listen.
Good citizens are not born, and life has always been dynamic, but the advent of super fast information is making life literally fluid. Cultures, traditions, businesses, attitudes are just being rendered useless in our lifetime. Now, once upon a time, life moved at a much slower and steadier pace. 3-4 generations in the family could be doing or practicing a trade with very little change or technology. We live in communities and towns, where one gong beat at dawn and everyone got the message and applied it and abide by it. Folks' population has increased. New worlds and new cities have been developed. There are more people in a square kilometer now than ever before. To make it worse, gone are the days when our competitors were local. A child in Adumasan, was competing with local children in Ajina and Pese. Today, a primary school in Adumasan is in collaboration with PS 521, which is a school all the way in New York. All the way in New York. Primary school in Adumasan, collaboration with schools in New York. That's the new world order. There has been so much changes in government, in politics, in policies, technology, attitudes and conformities are just changing on a weekly basis. And folks, none of us are born abreast to all these things that are happening so fast. You can't be born today and be aware of all these new policies that are coming. It looks like the world is leaving us behind. We are behind in technology, behind in infrastructure. We are falling behind in the quality of human beings. Folks, we are falling behind in the quality on human beings. But on technology, folks, let me deviate a little. On technology, and then I'll come back to it. I was in London for about a month. And for £7.50, I got 5 gig data plus calls and text messages. £7.50. Folks, this 5 gig that I got, WhatsApp calls, internet, I use it for your sat-nav or Google Map, because when you're going somewhere, you just put in there, it tells you turn left, turn right, constantly monitoring the news in Ghana, listening to the radio. I mean, I was literally bashing the internet. I was bashing it constant. It was just, the data was on for the whole month. Netflix, watching movies, name it, YouTube. I mean, anything that could happen on the internet. This 5 gig. Folks, until I returned that 5 gig did not finish. I mean, I thought, had they forgotten to turn off this data or something? Even on the flight coming home, just telling people that, look, I'm going back, and telling my wife I'm coming home. Still the same 5 gig. Folks, since I came to Ghana, I have used about 20 gig of data in about the same period, costing about 200 Ghana cedis. Which is about £79, using far less time on the internet. £79 only on data, folks, compared to £7.50, which will be about 51 cedis on calls and data and text. 51 cedis in a whole month, folks. Aren't we paying too much? But you know what? This was just by the way. This was just by the way. I need to come back and put it on the table for proper discussion, because I think we're being ripped off. Jesus Christ! But where was I? Abeku, where was I? I'm getting old. Yeah, I think I was on the low quality of human beings. Low quality of human beings. Yeah, folks. The general quality of people in Ghana are not fit for our time, and the exigencies of the fast changing globalization. We should be worried. Folks, we should be really worried. How is it that we are producing so many low quality human beings? And I could use other words, but I'm also appealing, so I don't want to, put people off, but I could use the proper words for the sort of human beings that we have around. But my God, from all walks of life, from people who should be teaching high quality of human beings are themselves in the gutter. People living in filth and happy. Just say there's no problem living in the filth. You live there, give birth happily. People resort to aggressive insult at the slightest instant. No patience for debate. Nothing to put your views across. Straight away, they lay into you with insults. Folks, how many times do you see people just come and force themselves in front of a queue in a bank, at a water joint? They just come and barge in, cut everybody. And, you look at them and you realize they don't even realize what they've done. It's not as if they are deliberately coming to cut across. No, the guy doesn't even know that it is courteous to wait in the queue because there were people before him. In traffic, they hoot and shout at the slightest instant. As soon as the light goes green, it's your mother. And then there's pa on the horn. And sometimes you move the car, you look in your driving mirror, and the car cannot even move. And yet still, at just that slight instant when the light turned from red to green, he or she is angry on the hooter, yelling. How are we producing such people? You hold the door for a lady or a gentleman and they just walk through as if it was an automatic door. No thank you, no how are you, just walk through. They sit in the bus and hold a loud private conversation as your neighbor. Please, no regards to the public. I mean, no regards to the public whatsoever. We just live as if we are alone in the world. And as for Trot Road mates, I'm sure they've dropped from a different planet. Good heavens. It's as though they were dug up from the ground and kept untidy, dirty, some smelly, just rough looking. Not to come from morning till evening with some filthy t-shirt or shirt. Folks, too many of us are just being too bush. Too many of us are just being too bush. And it's not about money or wealth or whether you have it or not. Folks, this is about common sense and courtesy. I mean, what happened to common sense and courtesy? And funny enough, we live with the presumption that, Ghanaians are courteous and have common sense. And, we have this hospitality business that we tag ourselves with. There is that presumption, but on the ground, where is it actually? But in our case, even those with money are in the same boat. Selfish, rude, pompous, uncaring, and impatient. And that's why I'm proposing that we copy the Japanese. Yes, the Japanese. Now, I don't like copy and paste, but on this occasion, I am for it. The principle is just what we need right here. What am I talking about? Folks, in Japanese schools, the students don't take any exams until they reach grade 4, 10 years of age. They just take small tests. It is believed that the goal for the first 3 years of school is not to judge the child's knowledge or learning, but to establish good manners and to develop their character. Children are taught to respect other people, and to be gentle to animals and nature. They also learn how to be generous, compassionate, empathic. Besides this, the kids are taught qualities like great self-control, justice, truthfulness, honesty. Folks, this policy should be introduced here at once. If there's an emergency bill anywhere, they should pass it and introduce it at once. Instead of us being so paranoid of not speaking English like the Queen, that is our main priority. Even before a child steps into a classroom in the house, people come to the house and they see the princess. Oh, how are you? How are you? Saying, Mr. What is saying? Why? How are you? Don't speak English with my daughter. She's an Akan, and if you can rattle some words in Akan, speak it. Even Ga, Hausa, any local language will do, but English. As for English, she's going to spend her whole life in school speaking it. At home, Uncle Chika. But we are so paranoid of not speaking English like the Queen. Folks, but we should be more worried about the behavior of people speaking English and not how they spoke it. We should be more worried about MPs jumping the queue and saying, video me, I am an MP. We should be more worried about his behavior and not the language he's speaking. As to whether he spoke it well or not. His behavior. The character and form that is needed to build a nation. Where has honesty gone to? Timekeeping, smartness, caring for others, contributing to our environment, protecting children, animals, plants, the elderly. Folks, we are losing it if we haven't lost it. But folks, I further propose that even after the 10 years, we should introduce citizenship as a subject to teach us our rights and, most importantly, our responsibilities. Because we have gotten to a stage where we just want rights and freedoms with no responsibility. Here we are, fighting for a bridge, and the bridge comes and we say, no, we'll still jump across the road. No responsibility. Folks, good citizens are not born. They are groomed, trained, taught, nurtured. We can't just leave it to chance that people will grow up and know what it is right or what to do and not to do. We need to up the quality. We need to instill in the young that it is good to be civil and you must be civil. Teach them to say please and thank you. Teach them to wait for their turn. Teach them to stop insulting. Teach them to be human beings. I don't know if we have to legislate. We need some legislation to legislate us back into human beings. Bring it. Folks, you have 5 pens. You're sharing it to 5 students and a 5 breakout. Because everybody wants to be the first one to collect the pen. It's the pen. It's a big pen. Whether you take it first, third, fourth, it's a big pen. But the fight will break out. No patience. Nobody wants to wait for their turn. Why are we doing this to ourselves? Folks, in my own republic, The way I struggle to get the kids to say thank you, it would be amazed. 100 kids lined up, taking sweets and biscuits and toys, and each of them will just snatch and turn around and walk away. And you wonder, what sort of parenting have they had? That all these kids, I mean, maybe one or two, I mean, just too few would say Medasi. Medasi you. They just take the sweet, turn around, knock. How do you bring such people into the world? How do we coexist harmoniously and peacefully? There is a way. I don't conform, folks. I'm not a conformist. But my God, there are some standards that whether you conform or not, you must respect somebody's space. You must know to say please before you get it, and you must say thank you when you receive it. Whether you conform or not, that is human. As so far as you're not a dog, a turtle, a chicken, or a bird, you must say thank you when you are given something. I am constantly having a go at the parents at the Republic that teach your children to say thank you. Teach them to wait in line. Teach them to queue. And I have 10 sweets and there are 10 children here. Does it matter when you got yours? It's the same sweet. But no, a fight will break out. And we grow up with it. And so when we get in traffic, as soon as there's the slightest obstruction, everybody jumps onto the side roads. And just like we fought for the sweets in the beginning, we grow up with it. And first we said it was the trotro drivers, and now because of social media, we've seen that even the V8 drivers are worse than the trotro drivers. And those are the ones who are boasting with Cambridge and Oxford and all the big English. These are the people who are boasting with the English. And I'm saying, let us not worry too much about how they speak, but how they behave. So let's go back to Japan and learn from them. That in the beginning stages we teach you to respect, to keep time, how to dress, how to eat with the cutlery, how to drink, how not to be chewing in public with your eating, close your mouth. Just some human attributes that go with what we are, humans. And the quality of human beings, folks. Look at robbery these days. The brutal nature of the robbery compared to the things they take. Man killed, wife raped, daughter hid, and they went with 2 Samsung phones and an iPad. And you think, to my God, do they value these gadgets so much to cause such brutality? But that is where we are heading. That we build houses and then we need to make it a fortress. We must, folks, as a matter of agency and policy, we must increase the quality of the Ghanaian. And I'm proposing that we copy what the Japanese are doing. From 0 to 10 years, teach that child how to be a human being. After 10 years, teach them to be a citizen. What does it mean when you see a red light? What does it mean when you see a zebra crossing? What does it mean when you see a footpath? A footpath doesn't mean that you have to come and put your container on it. A footpath means that's where you walk so you don't wrestle with cars. Teach them. Let it go into their spirits so they don't depart from it. Folks, you know something? If today, there was an announcement that there were not going to be any policemen on the road, everybody riding in Okada, plenty of them will not wear their helmet because they're in the police form. Folks, if I were to do the same system in a different jurisdiction, whether they were police or not, the guy riding understands why it is they have to wear a helmet. Folks, that's what I'm talking about. We need to train people not to police them, but for them themselves to understand that, listen, my safety matters and yours also matters. I should not be living a life that interferes with your life. Insulting. And so today, that's my call. That maybe we have groomed and missed, so many people have missed the opportunity. But by God's sake, those who are now coming up, let us do something. Let us rescue them. Folks, let us rescue the young ones coming so they don't become like us, hooting, insulting, uncouth. Let us rescue them.
Of Medina Delta, where citizens are refusing to use the footbridges in some cases. We understand the situation has improved, but the police told us they'll embark on an education drive and arrest recalcitrant pedestrians. The Chief of Operations for Accra Region mentioned it to us. We'll be hearing him in a moment, after which we'll go live to Roland Walker for him to tell us exactly what is happening. Listen to him now.
We're going to enforce the law. Those who like to endanger drivers and people using the road themselves will be dealt with according to law. And it is going to be an exercise that we're going to carry in the community. We'll be meeting community members, we'll be doing enforcement, we'll be engaging schools around, importantly, the West African Secondary School, among others, so that they use the footbridges.
So that's the Chief of Operations for Accra Region. Roland Walker has joined us. That's Accra Region Police. Roland Walker has joined us on the line. Good morning, Roland.
Well, good morning, Daniel.
So what's the situation on the Medina Delta Highway this morning?
So I decided to do the monitoring exactly just after the Atomic Junction overhead. You get to find that there's the next first overhead or footbridge that you find that would lead you ultimately to the Zongo Junction end of the stretch. And after that, we've had the one that is close to Ridge that will link you to Ashali Botwe, and you come to the one that's closer to the Toto Teen School and West Africa. And I believe that's exactly where we've had the police saying they will have their personnel again stationed to ensure that they do what is right by the ordinary citizen and ensure that they enforce the regulations. So far, it looks like I could see I'm currently at the Toto Teen School end of the footbridge. I could find that people, I don't know for whatever reason, choose to cross the road instead of using the footbridge. What you do find, though, is the fact that we still have many of young people who mainly are students and mainly women or young ladies who are using the footbridge instead. So it is the same. I currently can see a young lady who is just going over the rail guard on the road, not using the footbridge. And so she's just walking beneath the footbridge. It's quite surprising why they do that. I've spoken to a number of the residents, and they keep saying that the caution has been given by the assembly for the road to be used, ultimately making sure that they use the footbridge. That hasn't been the situation so far.
So the residents acknowledge that the authorities have been telling them to use the footbridge.
Yes, they do acknowledge that. The residents have even have some great interactions with them. We keep wondering why they keep using the road sometimes and not the footbridge. I currently can't see a police car that is there. I've seen Mr. Ofori getting out of the car, but his men are not here. I'll speak to him shortly, but I will want to speak to a resident. I've noticed that many of the residents and the commuters who will crisscross the road or cross the road, so to speak, they tend to use the footbridge, but there are some who defy the orders and use the road. So they'll cross the guardrail and come over. What do you make of it? It's quite undecent.
In fact, it's very sad to see such a thing going on because before then, we had so many accidents on the road. That's why people were agitating that we should construct a footbridge for people to cross. But it's very sad, like I said initially, that so people are crossing the road without using the footbridge. People used to say that it is too high. But for me, I don't see it to be too high. Even the length crossing from one end to the other end, people are saying that it's too long. I'll be using it every morning. This is my office.
The office is just close by.
Yeah. When I cross, it takes me 4 minutes.
Did you use it?
I use it. I'm just
because I just saw you use it. That's why I asked you. Yeah.
It takes me only 4 minutes to cross. So I wonder why people keep on saying that it's too long. And even the height, I don't see it to be high. It's just 5 meters.
But the argument also is it's your life at the expense of risking.
Yes, it's true. You see, when you cross without using the footbridge and a car knocks you down, I don't think anybody will even bother to come to your aid. I was told by some of the policemen who were formerly standing here that they said that when they see you crossing the road without using the footbridge and a car knocks you down, they will not even bother to come to your aid
because you decided to decline.
So sometimes I find it very difficult to understand some of us. For me, I don't see why we should not use the footbridge. It's the best. It will keep your life alive.
Thank you. What's your name?
My name is Austin.
Austin, I wish you a great day. But we also have the Director of Operations, Accra Police Command here. And I have Mr. Kwesi Fori. Sir, it's also opportune that we've met you here. You had promised that your men would be here. I've seen that you have done right by the ordinary citizen to try and do the monitoring from Atomic up to now. And I likely just seem to have found you here. And it lays credence to the fact that you are following through. But you've not followed through the promise that your men will be stationed at the various ends of the various footbridges we have on the stretch.
Thank you. They are already here. We've arrested.
I've not seen anybody.
We have arrested over 30 people. I'm going. They are operating on the corridor.
Okay, so they are operating on the corridor.
So we can do drive along. Okay. And you see what we've done and what we are doing. We've already positioned the men. They came early. And those recalcitrant ones have been picked, not only for purposes of arrest, but they're going to be educated. Again, also to value their lives, make sure that they don't endanger themselves, they don't endanger other road users, and make the place safe. So we are there in our numbers. And in police operations, briefing is very key. Early morning, we brief them, and they've already done some aspect of the enforcement. We now come in to place them at vantage points as the second piece, to direct and educate people.
What you decided to do is to do the patrolling before you do the positioning or the deployment of the various footbridges.
We did the patrolling, we did the enforcement, and the third phase is now we're going to position them to direct people.
Thank you very much, sir. But Daniel, that's the way it is. So we're doing the monitoring on the road. It looks the first phase, as we're being told by Mr. Kwesi Fori, was to ensure that they do patrolling on the road. That's why physically we've only seen them at the various intersections and not around or beneath the footbridges. So he says that the next phase will be to do the deployment beneath the footbridges to ensure that where they have identified, people tend to cross the road not using the footbridges. They will then decide to monitor and do the regulation and enforcement as possible.
I wish we could get ACP Mr. Kwesi Fori to tell us when exactly the officials will be stationed at the various footbridges so that we would know when to track that.
Today, we start important.
So ACP Kwesi Fori, what time today are the officials going to be stationed there?
We're starting any moment from now. As I said, we've done the first phase by arresting over 30 people who were found endangering their lives on the highway. Secondly, they are now going to be cautioned, advised, and educated on the dangers and also to value their lives and make sure that they are useful to their communities and society. So as I speak now, myself and Roland will be doing ride along to the Adenta police station, and the deployment around the footbridges will start forthwith.
Thank you very much, ACP Mr. Kwesi Fori.
And we are actually moved by your campaign. You know, the media and the police should have that kind of symbiotic relationship. And I believe the campaign is very laudable, and we salute you for this good job. The police will be by you to make sure that attitudinal change, prevails for the better.
Thank you very much, ACP Mr. Kwesi Fori. He is the commander of operations at the Accra Regional Police. So please, let's do the right thing. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whichever part of society you find yourself in, do the right thing. It's 21 minutes past 80 on the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. You can be assured that we will be bringing you updates on that ride along that Roland Walker is having with ACP Kwesi Fori. We'll be visiting those persons who have been arrested by the police to find out exactly what becomes of them next. And you'll be getting those updates on your super station, Joy 99.7 FM, and of course, subsequent Super Morning shows. But if you receive remittances from abroad, we have exciting news for you. Guarantee Trust Bank Ghana Limited and Ria Money Transfer Service have partnered with ZPay to launch the Ria to Mobile service, an innovative service that allows senders globally to remit funds directly into their mobile money wallets of beneficiaries in Ghana across mobile money operators. With Ria to Mobile, the days of visiting the branch to redeem your remittances are over. Just provide your mobile money number to your family, friends, and business partners abroad, and within a few minutes, your Ria remittance is credited directly into your wallet anytime, anywhere. Spread the word. Ria to Mobile is here. For further inquiries, please call our 24-hour hotline 0302 611 560 or our toll-free line 0800 124000. Guarantee Trust Bank. Wouldn't you rather bank with us? Now, the Vodafone Bosu offer just got bigger. Aside the Bosu weekend offer, Vodafone has taken another boss step, introducing the Bosu daily offer. The Bosu of all daily offers. Sign up to the Vodafone Bosu daily offer for 2 Ghana cedis and enjoy 100 minutes for calls to all networks, plus 100 megabytes valid for 24 hours. Yes, it's real, Palm. Just dial star 5588 hash now to subscribe to the Bosu daily offer and spend your day like a boss. Still live on the Super Morning Show. We're going to say hi to our sponsors very quickly, and when we come back, we hear from veteran journalist Kwesi Pratt. We're still